Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be making a simple BMI calculator. BMI basically stands for body mass index, and that basically tells you if you're underweight, normal weight, overweight, or obese, or there's class 1, class 2, class 3 obesity, and then there's underweight depending on how much it is. It could be like really bad, or you could be close to normal weight. So let's start with defining the function, so DEF, BMI calculator, and then we're going to have a try and catch block because we're going to be using numbers, and if someone enters something that isn't a number, then we want to catch that error before the program catches it, and it will basically disrupt the whole flow of the program, and that's not good. So let's get started. So try, we want to have three variables, so we're going to have a weight, height, and BMI. So right here we have float, input, enter your weight in kg, and then the same thing but for height, enter your height in centimeters, and then we have BMI equals to weight divided by height times 2. So float, right here I have float instead of int because integers are only integers, whereas float have floating point values, and someone might be 85.5 kilograms, so we need to catch that decimal, which is why we're using float, because with integers you cannot have decimals. And what I'm doing here is typecasting. I have a video on that. If you don't understand what that is, you can check it out. But basically we're turning this string into a float. So let's get started, or let's continue. So we want to print f, and then we want to say your BMI is, and then we want to say BMI colon dot 2f. And this might not make sense right now, but it will when I explain it. Basically, the dot 2f in this scenario stands for two floating point value. Like the floating point value, we want to have two floating points. So basically, if we get the answer to be 10.0 whatever, or 10.8 something, it will only catch these two. So it'll be 10.82. It will discard everything else because we have a 2 here. If we say 3 here, then it will be 10.821, and you get the point. So let's continue. So we want to say if BMI is less than 18.5, then we want to print underweight. And then moving on, we want to say else if, and within the else if statement, sorry, you need to pay attention to the indentation. So we want to say else if 18.5 less than or equal to, or sorry, greater than or equal to, wait, no, sorry, I got confused. It's going to be less than or equal to BMI So let's backtrack a little bit. So first we want to print your BMI is, and then we want to say what your BMI is with two floating point numbers, and then we want to say if the BMI is under 18.5, then we want to print category of underweight. So if it's anything under 18.5, you're underweight. If it's between 18.5 and 24.9, if your BMI is in between these two numbers, then we want to say the category is normal weight. If your BMI is anywhere in between 25 and 29.9, we want to say that you are overweight. And else, basically, if it's not under 18.5 and it's not in between these two numbers, and it's not in between these two numbers, then that means it's over 29.9, which means that you are obese. And then we want to accept the value error, which is why you were seeing those two red dots at the end, because we did not accept anything. So we want to accept, after the try block, we want to accept something. So we're accepting the value error here, which means basically it is expecting a number. And if you input anything that isn't a number, say for example a string or a character, then it is a value error. And it will print invalid input, please enter valid numbers. And then we are calling the function here. So let's run it and see if it works. Enter your weight in kg. My weight is 88. Enter your height in centimeters. I am 182. Okay, so here we have a problem. Okay, so I figured out what the problem was. Basically, the height was in centimeters, but it should be in meters, not centimeters. So let's run it again and try it out. So enter your weight in kilos, 88 kilos. Enter your height in meters, so that's going to be 1.82, which is 182 centimeters. And now it says your BMI is 26.7 or 26.57, sorry, and category is overweight, which is good that I'm not obese. So that's basically it for today's code or today's program for BMI calculator. If you learned something new or enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and as always, the full code will be in the comments down below.